Welcome to the Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast. I'm your host, Gwendolyn Mitchell, founder and CEO of Moyo Institute and lifelong spiritual seeker and energy worker. Here for thoughtful conversations about health, healing, and happiness by, for, and about Black and African American women. Disclaimer, the Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast does not provide medical advice. The opinions, experiences, and insights shared are for informational purposes only. Nothing shared in this podcast is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. Don't disregard or delay seeking it because of what you've heard on this podcast. Thank you. Are you ready? Let's dive in. So welcome to this episode of the Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast. We're really fortunate today to have as our guest Miss Delorme McKee-Stovall, and she is a thriver. So welcome, Delorme. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yes. So I want you to know a little bit about her. She was born into a traditional middle-class Black family as the eldest of three daughters. She was required to serve as a quasi-parent from the age of 8 until she left home at 18. And she's a self-described born healer. And at an early age, she began practicing the art of healing and later became a professional healer as a nurse, and then went on to become a human rights advocate and activist. And now what she says is important to her is focusing on healing her own body, spirit, and focusing on care of self. And Delorme, why don't you talk to us a little bit about that, a little bit about your journey from becoming, when you say you were born a healer, I want to know more about that. Tell me some examples of that in your early life.
From the age of 3, I was practicing nursing. My mother was so disturbed by it that she finally just brought me a nursing bag because I was practicing on our little neighborhood. I mean, I even did physicals. So that tells you how much I was into it. From there, I just progressed straight on a path to being a nurse. I mean, I just focused from there on, even in school. Became the president of the Nursing Association, graduated, went to nursing school, graduated from there, began to practice. I expected to practice just individual nursing, did that for a while, went into research, and the next thing I knew, I was an executive. And I was an executive for about 22 years in healthcare. Then took some time off. I wanted to pursue a master's in business administration and got recruited back into healthcare. Then decided, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I decided I'd get another degree in religious studies. And from there, I became a human rights advocate. So,
wow.
Yeah. Everyone expected me to become a cleric, but I got ordained, but I just couldn't see myself with the church or, people that I was responsible for. And so I translated that expectation from my ordination into the work that I did with the county. And so that became my life's work until I retired. And it was just fabulous for me. I loved human rights work more than I even loved nursing. I just loved it with a passion.
Well, Delorme said that's how she came into her position at the county, and we used to work together in a county in California. She was the director of human rights for that agency, and I was in another position there as well. So we have known each other for a number of years, had an opportunity to observe each other in many different settings, and I can say that she's one of the most compassionate, caring people that I've encountered on my journey, and a real inspiration. So I'm so happy that she's here with us today to share more of her story with us. Now, the religious studies, that's interesting to me. Like what propelled you to do religious studies?
When you're in a military life, your religious life is very controlled. just like a military life is controlled. So I didn't have any chance to explore my religious feelings. So when I left home, I tried to find a church and I couldn't because there was so much anti-femaleness going on from the pulpit. So I couldn't find a church. And so for a long time, I had questions about religion, just many questions. And I was very open-minded about religions. I was always curious. So when the opportunity presented itself, I said, well, let's go study it. And that's when I went and pursued my master's in comparative religious studies and loved it. It helped me to understand not only the basis for religion and why human beings require religion in their lives these days, and it's been forever, for as long as we can imagine, but also it helped me to understand rituals that helped people to heal. And those were the things that excited me the most, is the discovery of the variety of rituals in different religious practices that I could use in healing.
Beautiful. So your dad was in the military?
Yes, he was. Career.
Okay. So when you said when you're in a military family, it's conscribed. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So then you decided to not go in the traditional format. Now, I think that that's interesting because you had such an expansive introduction to the religious practices across a wide spectrum compared to some people who simply go in and study one thing. And then they're pretty clear that that one thing is the path that they're to be on. So, yeah.
Yeah. I always was just too curious, as my mother would say. I was too curious about everything.
hmm
It was one of those issues that I was curious.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, a little bit about your work as a human rights activist. Can you talk a little bit about what that looked like?
For me, it was about helping people to come together, helping people to understand that we share more of the sameness in life, our expectations, our desires, our loves, the way we behave in the world, than there are differences. And so my job was to prepare a staff and volunteers to help heal communities that were at odds with each other, in conflict. So we did it in terms of individuals, families, and then very, very large scale community conflicts. Those were the conflicts that I loved the most because it was diverse in terms of all the needs that you had to try to address, and it was a big team effort to pull together that kind of effort. In addition to doing that kind of work, though, we were advised, I was responsible for the Human Rights Commission. And what that responsibility meant that I had to explore what was going wrong within the community and what could I make better. So again, that was about healing as well.
Mhm. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it when you see these threads that run through a life. It shows you that, like from a very early age, you were really on purpose in terms of why you're here and what you came into the world to do. And sometimes we get sidetracked along the way based on societal expectations and pressures. And our goal and our job and our mission in life is to find our way back to that path so that we're in alignment with our purpose.
I was blessed in that it came to me early.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that brings us to current times. And I was a little bit surprised a couple of years ago when I first started the Love Letters to Our Bodies project and learned that you, in fact, hadn't experienced an episode with cancer and that you were in the process of healing from that. And you want to talk a little bit about that process? What was it like for you to learn that you had breast cancer? And then talk a little bit about what you did after the diagnosis.
It was an interesting thing that happened. I got a phone call from my niece saying that my sister had breast cancer, who had just been diagnosed. And I had not been doing breast exams, mammograms, because I didn't like them, and there was no history in my family, absolutely none. And when that happened, that next day I went in to get a mammogram. And 2 days later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So it was just kind of a stunning situation to have both of us diagnosed with breast cancer within a very short period of time. The diagnosis was less difficult for me because I knew that there was treatment than what happened to me immediately after the diagnosis. You can well imagine when you're diagnosed, you're in a state of unrest, concern. Your mind isn't working really well. You can't focus really well on anything else but that. And so you really need people around you that are going to help you to stay focused on healing. And I didn't have that experience right away. I didn't have a team. I was busy trying to find my team, even though I was at a facility that was supposed to be providing me with a team. I had to complain about it. So I had to advocate for myself. Where's my team? Here I am all out here all alone. Where's my team? It's going to be taking care of me. And as a result of writing that letter, all of a sudden I had a team. Now, the institution that I received service from, they did do teamwork. It's just that somehow I got lost. Somehow I got lost. And if I had not advocated for myself, I probably would have stayed lost. So once I got my team, though, I got really wonderful, wonderful care. Wonderful care. And I was delighted with that.
The point that you're making is a point that's come up a lot in our workshops where either people were giving incorrect information about their diagnosis or they weren't given all the options. It falls under the general heading of disparate treatment. I was just talking to one sister who said that sometimes it feels like the doctor doesn't see us or doesn't hear us, or it's easy for us to quote unquote get lost in the system.
And I didn't want to focus on my race about it. I just
Mhm.
getting care. I know in healthcare that there's a disparity problem for women and women of color in particular. There's a huge disparity problem. But I didn't want to focus so much on that. I was focused on, hey, I need a team. Look, I'm diagnosed. Let's get through this. Let's get me healed.
Exactly. Beautiful. I like that. So, how did you feel being forced to advocate for yourself?
I was really quite upset because I felt vulnerable and I was on my own. And everybody that I kept talking to kept passing the buck. It was the strangest thing. They kept saying, oh, no, my interns would go, oh, it's your gynecologist. And the gynecologist would go, oh, no, it's the oncologist. I said, I don't have those people. Yeah. So pull that team together so that I had that team. And that was the way it was supposed to happen as soon as I got diagnosed. But I just got lost. Somehow, I don't know. But once I got them to be aware of the situation, everything went very smoothly from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, was that your most vulnerable experience? Did you in the course of treatment, did you experience more vulnerability? You want to share that?
They put me on a hormonal receptor, the traditional one. You see it in all of the medications. I've looked up all the all the ingredients, so to speak. And somehow, in the beginning, I did well, and then after about 8 weeks, I started to get very ill. First, it felt like I had the flu, and then I thought maybe I had COVID, but it wasn't. And the next thing I knew, I couldn't eat. I was just very gravely ill. And I was talking to my doctors about it, and they kept saying, Delorme, it's not possible that you have a toxic, because I thought it was a toxic reaction, because nothing else was going on in my life. And they kept saying, oh, that's not possible, Delorme, this is a really safe drug. And then I had to start doing my own research and found out, yeah, there is a toxicity level for people. If you're not doing blood work on people that are getting this kind of therapy on a regular basis, you can build up a toxicity. And I was one of them. So I almost died. I literally almost died. I had a miracle happen for me so that I could recover, but I felt more vulnerable then because nobody was like, "Oh, Delorme, that's not possible." No, no. The oncologist, the internist, the gynecologist, no, 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 Delorme, that's not possible. And then when I showed them the research literature, everybody went, "Oh," and I felt like, "How come you didn't do this on your own? Or why am I having to advocate about a medication that you know has toxicity?"
Mhm. Mhm.
So now they know. Now they know. And they took me off the meds altogether, and they're monitoring me closely. And so far, I'm 3 years clear.
Beautiful, beautiful. I like to say that the body has its own intelligence. And if we learn to really pay attention to the signs, it will let us know when something is not right for us. And one of the things I've discovered over time is that you do have to really be persistent in one, tracking what's going on in your body. And it can be something as simple as journaling what's the response in your body after you've eaten something. This is a good practice to have, whether you have cancer or not, like just making notes and tapping into this intelligence that's already encoded in the body. It knows what it can assimilate, it knows what it doesn't recognize, and it's our friend, and we need to learn to use that.
Unfortunately, as a result of being a nurse, I discovered that people are afraid of their bodies. They don't want, they want the doctor to take care of all that. They don't even want to learn the words. So when they approach a physician about a serious diagnosis, they're just dumping it on the doctor. Doctor doesn't fulfill all their needs, and there's a real, real problem. That's why loving your body is really important, because that means you're paying attention to it as well. That helps you when there is a problem to deal with the caretakers that you need and to be a partner with them.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I will just share an experience that I had in my 30s. I was experiencing tremendous amount of joint pain, and I noticed that I would get pain in my elbows, and I was like, why am I having this? And so I started journaling whenever it happened. What did I eat before that happened? And soon I discovered that I was intolerant in terms of nightshades. I had a nightshade intolerance. That's potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, things that are so integral to most of our diets. Try to find something without a tomato in it. And we grew up eating ketchup and all that sort of thing, and spaghetti. So whenever I was consuming these things, I would get joint pains. So I just started journaling. I discovered that. And then once I discovered that, I also found a book on natural healing that talked about the chemical that's produced in nightshades that attacks the joints, the solanine. And so I was equipped with information to make different choices. Now, does it mean I never eat a potato? No. I mean, occasional French fry, okay? but, but there's not mashed potatoes at every meal. There's no, like that's all gone. And there have been so many times when I've had experiences like that where the body is just really saying, I don't want this. In fact, nowadays, when I go into a store, if I pick up a packet or something or a can of something, my eyes will start watering to tell me that you don't want this. Don't get this. So that's the intelligence of the body. And I like to encourage us to think about the body as a friend, almost like you can turn your attention a step away from it a little bit so that you have a little bit of neutral distance and you can observe it from just a step away, and then begin to behold, one, its beauty, two, how incredible it is in terms of a biosystem, all of these things that work together, and three, its intelligence. It knows what to do. So, yeah. And I'm sure, your years in nursing that you have an appreciation for that as well.
I think it would be so important, besides all the other things that we're trying to teach young people at an early age. We really need to teach babies to love their bodies. And so we really, to understand it, to know how it functions. It's simple. It's not complicated if you look at it from a environmental perspective and a love perspective. Because we are our own world.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast is sponsored by Moyo Institute Incorporated, a nonprofit organization offering heart-centered educational experiences, and the Lloyd Symington Foundation, which supports visionary grassroots cancer programs.
And now we're in a better position than ever because through social media, we have so much access to information that was not available to us before the internet. Like what we're learning about the microplastics that come into your system from cutting boards that are plastic, from plastic containers, all of these kinds of things. And these end up disrupting the hormonal system in the bodies or the endocrine system in the body and can also contribute to cancer as well. So we've got so much more information. And I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this in the context. We have probably more information than we've ever had about all the things that we're consuming and using and the toxins in our environment and how they affect us. But then I thought we never needed that much information in the past because we didn't live like this. You know, people lived simply, they lived close to the land and they grew their own food and they knew what they were taking in. So, yeah.
I saw a little feature on Instagram. It was a comparative feature that I thought was so cute. This young woman said she just went through products that are normal in her life. She says, when I was a little girl, she says, I could eat Ritz crackers. Look at the ingredients. It was only 4 ingredients. Ritz crackers now has 25 ingredients. You understand? She said, it was safe then. You have to go through. She said, it's not appropriate to think that the ingredients that you ate when you were a child a long time ago are safe today. You have to make sure they're safe today. So you have to be really careful. Ritz crackers is outlawed in Europe. You can't even buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there have been the reports about the 16 ingredients in French fries and McDonald's and all that sort of thing, and the fact that ice cream has no milk in it.
No.
I saw one post from a woman who said, you know what, I forgot the exact age, but just say, she says, like, I'm 36 years old and I don't know what to eat, right? I used to know how to eat, but I don't know how to eat anymore, and I thought, yep, that's the condition that we're finding ourselves.
Yeah, if you're not basically only going down the 2 side aisles
Mm-hmm.
and avoiding all the center aisles, it's really hard to eat healthy. And the way we do it is we grow our own food. We have a small little farm in our backyard.
Beautiful, beautiful. You said to me in one of our conversations that one of the things that helped you was your diet and in terms of your recovery. What was your experience around that?
My daughter she's vegan, and she's been vegan for 10 years. And she just begged me to go vegan. And I just kept saying, no, no, no. But I would watch her. I would pay attention, but I was just not ready to give up meat yet. But I was slowly giving it up. I started to notice that I wasn't eating it every day. So about a year before I was diagnosed, I said, okay, I talked to my doctor about it. And she said, Delorme, if you want to lose weight, really, if you want to feel healthy, really, really, she says, become a vegan. And so I did. And when I came back to see her, I'd already lost 30 pounds and it was about 6 months. And she was like shocked. And she says, most people can't do it cold turkey, Delorme. But most things in my life I do. I just say, if I'm going to do it, I might as well go that way. And that's the way it turned out. And my doctors, my oncologist said, Delorme, you don't know how much that benefited you. It kept your cancer small so that we could just remove it, and it will keep your health in good stead for the next 5 years that we're closely monitoring. And it has.
Beautiful, beautiful. Because cancer thrives in acidic environments, and meat tends to be very acidic. And more alkaline environments are the environments that are the conditions that produce the conditions for slower growth and slower spread of disease of various sorts in the body. So, again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm just saying what I know.
I'm just saying what my experience has been, what my doctors have told me. They're just really pleased that I made this choice early on. And I am too, because I'm comfortable now. I'm comfortable being a vegan. I have no problem. Even going out, I have no problem.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let me ask you this. Well, there were two things. Recently, when we were having a conversation, well, let's go back for a moment to your love letter that you wrote in the first Love Letters to Our Bodies booklet that was produced 2 years ago. And this is going on 3 years ago now. You said, note to self, my initial diagnosis of breast cancer was April 26, 2021. I'm now 1 year cancer-free. I can't believe a year that was so filled with stress and deep sickness due to the development of toxicity to hormone therapy in October of 2021 is now behind me. It was a fight to cling to life and hope. So many prayers. But I truly thank you, body, mind, spirit, for never giving up on me, for allowing me to tap deeply into all my reserves and remain disciplined about my healing diet, healing body movement, and healing meditations. I'm so grateful for all the healing disciplines that I've learned over decades and applied to the healing of my body. You have not let me down, even in my insightful intuition and my darkest hours. I now know how really strong you are and how reliable you can be when it comes to my self-care. Self-love and its application in times of physical and mental challenges is the best medicine. I'm so grateful and blessed. Love to you, mind, body, and spirit. That is so beautiful. It just really touched me when you wrote it. And I was inspired to go back and take a look at it earlier today. And I thought, oh, I want to share that with Delorme, because when we talked about this recently, you said, I'm just in a place now where I can really express gratitude. So do you want to talk about that?
Yes. I've lived a life of responsibility, kind of like you have. My life has been all about responsibility, meeting expectations. And sometimes, quite often, it doesn't bring you the kind of joy, the deep joy that you want. It's kind of a surface joy, a communal joy. That's how I express it. But the deep personal joy of being in your body, having the spirit in your body, existing in life, that was hard for me. I had to go through that journey with the cancer to understand that there could actually be gratitude. I had to use all these modalities that I learned and that I was learning, because I was reaching out for everything. People were giving me everything. Like I said, I'm curious. I would try everything and make a commitment to it. So I was meditating 3 times a day in gratitude, not meditating asking for a cure, but in gratitude for the life that I've been given, for the family, and the career that I had. I mean, everything that happened in my life, when I look back on it, wow, am I grateful for. I know that I'm in the top 2% when it comes to, having your life fulfilled. I know that for sure. Now I'm in a new space where I'm learning how to experience joy, to actually experience joy, and knowing that I'm personally responsible for it. Nobody else is responsible. I don't have to look outside myself for it, seeking it anymore, which I used to do. Now I seek it from inside. Nobody else is responsible for it but myself. And that way I can wake up and it's different. When I hear the birds, it's like, oh, listen to that. I'm in a neighborhood where there's bird song. I can hear that every single morning. I can hear the owl every morning. When I go into the backyard, I can watch the squirrels play. And I know them all. I know all the families. It's those little things when you stop and you look at what's really close to you that brings you joy. It's not the big things. It's, putting your hands in the soil when you're gardening without your gloves on, getting your nails really dirty and having to really scrub them later on, picking your own fruits and vegetables from your own garden. Even when you go grocery shopping, knowing that you can go to one section and those fruits and vegetables are going to be safe for you, that they're there, they're available for you, that you don't live in a food desert. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's just so much that you can find to feel joyful about. You just have to want it, and you just have to express it to self and to others.
Yes, indeed. I know exactly what you're talking about. The gratitude that you experience, the gratitude is born out of realizing the interconnectedness of everything. And it's also the beginning of a greatness in the being. So that is joyful. I've been just experiencing the joy of breathing. I mean, literally, the breath comes in and it feels like music coming into my nostrils, and I'm just happy to be able to feel that. And so we get so outwardly focused as we're climbing the career ladder, as we're running about trying to make a name for ourselves, that we really do miss the beauty of life. There's so much beauty everywhere. And when I was in Palm Desert just a few days ago, we were walking outside. We went for massages. Okay. So, but before going into the massage place, there was a tree that was so beautiful. It was like swaying, and it almost looked like it was singing to me, just that kind of beauty, that kind of joy. So I hear you 100%.
I
Yes.
think you get, sometimes you're out somewhere like in a woods, and just like you just experienced, and something happens and it looks like a miracle. Like, what did I just see? But it's nature, but you're like, what did I just bear witness to? And it just fills you with awe,
It speaks to awareness. It speaks to the level of awareness. It speaks to coming into alignment with consciousness and actually tapping into that greater aspect of ourselves. We really focus on our physical body as though it is the totality of who we are, but we're actually mind, body, spirit complex, and we have so many layers to us. We have our higher self, I call it our higher sacred self. And even beyond that, the causal body where we're connected to everything in existence. And so just the more we turn our attention inward, the more we are able to access and tap into that aspect of reality. So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And let me ask you, how did you motivate yourself to keep the faith and to keep moving forward?
Prayer. I woke up in prayer and I engaged in rituals that reinforce it. The lighting of candles, the burning of incense, the touching of my crystals, to lay hands on my own body, on the chakras of my body, to deep breathe. You just have to commit yourself to practice. I know that's so hard for people. People say, oh, that's so hard to do every day. But no, you commit. That's the way I do it. I just commit to that because I know that in the end, I'm going to gain from it. Once I see the value in something, I know I have to make the commitment for myself.
Beautiful, beautiful. This has been so inspiring. It's been so wonderful to chat with you today and to hear about your journey. And you look radiant, absolutely radiant. And I'm so happy for you. I'm happy that you responded to the wake-up call. that life presented you, and you've made the absolute most of it. And you're just a beautiful example. So thank you so much, Delorme.
Thank you.
So we're going to wrap up this session, this episode of Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast, where we've been talking about the importance of advocating self-care with Delorme McKee-Stovall. And I want to encourage you to tune in to all of the episodes of the Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, or go to our website at moyoinstitute.org. That's MOYO institute.org, moyoinstitute.org. We're a 501c3 organization bringing heart-centered educational experiences that are all about well-being. So, blessings to you. Have a wonderful day. And thank you again, Delorme.
You're very welcome.
That's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening to Love Letters to Our Bodies, conversations on health, healing, and happiness. To find out more about the Love Letters to Our Bodies project, visit our website at moyoinstitute.org. That's MOYO institute.org. Follow us on social media and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. If there are topics you'd like for us to discuss, let us know. Remember, your body is beautiful, girlfriend. Love it.